What's up, guys? I hope everybody's having a good day. Today we're going to be painting the valve cover on my Honda Civic. So as you can see here, I went and ordered the OEM valve cover for my car from Honda. It came right out of the box, no fingerprints, hasn't been put on anything before. The only thing that's different is it doesn't have the Earth Dreams Turbo logo that it usually does, but that's not a problem. After I paint, I'll just peel it off the old cover and then put it on this one. Keep that cover so we don't get it greasy. The paints I'm going to be using, first we have engine enamel and accessories primer. So with ceramic, so it withstands heat up to 500 Fahrenheit, which is more than enough because I don't know if you know, but the 1.5 valve covers are plastic, so they're not metal. Next, we have two paints that go hand in hand. First, we have the metal cast anodized coating. This is the base coat. It's basically like a chrome silver that goes on below the tint coat, and they sell a whole bunch of colors in this. This is the tint coat. I'm going to be spraying this over that, and it's just going to give the chrome purple tint. And then after that, we're going to be finishing it off with some VHT high temperature engine enamel. This is a gloss clear coat, and once again, all these paints are made by the same company. So VHT is a sub company of Duplicolors, so they're all rated to at least 500 degrees Fahrenheit, which is going to be more than enough for what we got to do. So I'm going to go to the store right now, get some scuffing pads, and I'll see you when we get back. Alright, so now I'm going to be showing you everything you're going to need to do this. So first off, we're going to need the paint. We already went over that. We're going to need some painter's tape to tape off the plug holes and the bolt holes. You're going to need a Brillo pad. This one is number 3. It's not abrasive. It's just, if you can see that, I don't know. It's just abrasive enough to cut little scratches in the plastic so the primer can adhere, because if there's no tunnels for the paint to adhere to, then essentially this is just going to dry on the surface, and everything you put on top of it is eventually just going to flake off. Next, we have a X-Acto knife or a razor blade, soapy water, isopropyl alcohol, and some type of gloves, because when you're moving it after you disinfect it with the isopropyl alcohol, you don't want to get any of your oil from the skin on it, because it'll make the paint not adhere. So we're going to go ahead and get it right into step 1. Okay, so for step 1, you're going to make sure your hands have no grease on them. I just washed my hands with dish soap, so they're all soft and they have no grease on them. And we're going to take our soapy water and our Brillo pad, kind of fold it in half, dip it in our soapy water, and what we're just going to go ahead and do, once it drips dry, we're going to start scrubbing. Now what we're going to do, we're going to grab paper towels, and we're going to go ahead and wipe all that soapy water off. We want to get it as dry as we can. I don't know if you guys can see that, but if you look closely, there is no longer, see right there where I couldn't get to the Brillo pad, it's shiny. But if you see everywhere else, it has these very, very faint lines in it, where it's dry at least. And right here, It also is not glossy anymore. It has paint lines in it. So what that's going to do on a really tiny level, when you rub your fingernail against it, it's rough instead of smooth. That's going to allow the primer and the paints over it to adhere better than if I had not done anything at all. Alright guys, now it is fully dry. If you can't stick your rag or your paper towel into some of these deep crevices, I recommend leaving it outside for 10 minutes to bake in the sun. I've had this outside for about 10-15 minutes and it's a little warm to the touch, but as far as I can see, there's no more water anywhere. So what you're going to want to do now is you're going to want to take your isopropyl alcohol, put it on a paper towel, and rub the surface down. Don't worry about getting it in the crevices because it'll dry up almost immediately. And while you do this, don't forget to put on your gloves because you don't want to get any more oil from your hands onto this plastic. If any oil touch the plastic from here on out, you're going to get paint that runs or paint that doesn't stick to the surface properly. Now that it's all prepped with alcohol, we're going to want to take a dry microfiber towel and wipe any lint off that may have gotten on there from the paper towels. So I'm going to go ahead and grab one of those. I'll be right back. Okay, now guys, you're going to want to get your tape and your razor. First off, obviously the screws where the coil plugs go in, you need to mask these off right here. Everything with a copper fitting. You don't really have to mask these off because once you put the cup on, you won't see it anyways, and it doesn't really matter if you get paint on in there. There are no threads. Depends on your car though. Always make sure that they don't have threads first. The oil filler cap, obviously you want to take this off. Just the surface, everything around it can get painted except this surface and the threads. So just make sure you don't get paint in that. Flip it over. This hole right here, make sure we don't get paint in that, so I'm going to tape over that hole. Tape this off. You don't want any paint getting in your breather hose, so I'm going to go ahead and tape all that off. Okay guys, as you can see, it's all taped off. All the air holes, plug holes, screw holes, everything has been taped, cut to size. Now what I'm going to do, I made this. I'm going to just carry it out there on this to avoid touching it. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, so now guys, what we're going to go ahead and do, we're going to let it sit for about 24 to 48 hours because I just applied the last coat of clear coat. Makes about 4 or 5 coats of clear coat. Some spots it ran a little bit, like if you see up here, you see it's a little bit runny, but it's gonna appear white when it runs a little bit, but don't worry, it'll dry clear. But the only thing is now if you see all these like kind of like orange peel and ridges in the cover. Well, these little ridges are just because of that's how the plastic was made. But what we're gonna go ahead and do after it dries for about a day or two, we're gonna go pick up some turtle wax polishing compound, and we're gonna take a microfiber cloth, and we're just gonna slowly work it into the high traffic areas, like places where you're really gonna see, and then we're gonna rinse it off, and we're gonna disinfect the whole cover. So what basically is gonna happen, it's just gonna remove all these ridges out of the clear coat, and then it'll be nice and smooth and shiny. So I'll get back with y'all in 2 days when we go ahead and do that.